How are we doing today? Heck yeah! This is this is amazing. When I was coming out here with some of our staff, I was just kind of going through, kind of the past 2 years I've known Karen, and I was just like, man, I wonder how it's gonna be. And I was like, man, this weather and as a Chicagoan, we realize that one thing we have no control over is the weather. Right, Tom? I swear, you have a magic 8-ball someday, you're like, yeah, it may rain, it may not, but one thing that we know as an organization is that, on the good days and the bad days, we have to remind ourselves that if we're struggling with thoughts of self-harm, suicide, depression, or if life is just kicking us in the tush, we need to realize that it's okay not to be okay. And that's the truth, because the more that we think like that, we'll think differently about the conversation around mental health, because we as an organization understand it is terrifying to talk about. But the truth is, the more that we do talk about it, the more that we'll realize that we're not crazy, we're not insane, we're not messed up, we are humans, and we're going through this thing called life. And if we have to ask for help, it's okay. It is okay. But it can't just be today when we're standing here under this tent getting rained on that we think like that. It's got to be on the good days and on the bad days that we remind ourselves, our friends, and our family, because by talking about it, that is the difference of saving a life. But this is not here to scare everyone. So let's put a smile on our face, because guess what? We are doing the action, and we're taking action today. And we can do this tomorrow. We can do this next week. And we can do this on those good days and on those bad days together as a community and not be scared about it. Because one of the scary things about America right now is, it's an interesting place that changes every single day. But one thing that is not changing is the number of suicides that are happening every day. It's actually going up. We are seeing a 30-year spike. We're seeing 121 people on average every single day take their lives. And yesterday was Veterans Day. They're a huge portion of that number. Because we're not talking about it. We're not talking about it. And if we allow silence to speak for ourselves more often than we speak for ourselves, then who are we going to ask for help? Who are we going to know we can depend on? But by talking about this, we're doing two things. We're breaking the silence, which when we break the silence, we raise the visibility of resource, which gives people that are struggling an opportunity to say, hey, there is help. But also, it raises the opportunity to educate ourselves. Because one thing that we all have in common is we have these brains. And some of us were blessed with hair, and I think that the way my hairline is going, I won't have it someday. But the thing is, we're talking about our brains here, and we can't see when our brains are in distress. So we have to talk about it. And today, what Karen is doing is she is making sure that every single one of us know that we can talk about it, that we can take a dilly bar and make that suicide prevention. We can take a cup of coffee and make that suicide prevention. But we can also take that opportunity and make that a beacon of hope, a reminder that we can get through this by talking about it. So I want to thank you all for being here today and being part of the solution and not allowing silence to speak for ourselves, not allowing silence to speak for Jonathan. We're doing what we're supposed to do, and I want to let you know that we're in this together, and that is not a cliche saying. We are truly in this together, and if you want to get more involved with Hope for the Day, here is your invite. Because I started the organization after losing 15 people to suicide. I've lost my aunt, my uncle on my mom's side, bosses, friends, and I haven't let that hold me back from being the white elephant in any room and saying the things that we don't say, because I know that the more I talked about it, the more others wanted to talk about it, and that is how Hope for the Day started, and that's how we continue to grow every single day, by breaking the silence and letting people know that we are truly in this fight together. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank Karen Maloney. I can't even say anything else. Thank you, Karen. And before I go, I gotta do this. Tom, who do we need to talk to at WGN for when you're doing the weather forecast and it's a little bit like this, it might be a grim day, that we can just have a little hopeful reminder that, hey, it's gonna be a dark day out there. Take care of yourself. How do we do that?
You've done it.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Give it up for yourself. Woo!